Welcome back to another ranking video, and in this one I'm going to be counting down the top 10 hard rock albums in my collection. So for me, hard rock is all about three things. It's about guitars, it's about drums, and it's about vocals. I'm sorry bass players, and I'm sorry keyboard players, but for me, this is where hard rock really shines. So if we talk about guitars first, usually it's something like a Gibson Les Paul or an SG through a Marshall stack, distorted guitars in your face. Sometimes there can be two guitar players and the guitars are interwoven in the rhythms, and then when we get to the guitar solo, it's usually based around a pentatonic, a minor pentatonic, or a blues scale, and it's usually very melodic. It can be fast, but we're not talking about shredding here when we're talking about hard rock. When we think about the drums in hard rock, it's very simple. They have to be loud, they have to be bombastic, and they have to be in your face. And then the vocals are usually high-pitched, not always, but usually high-pitched. And then they're also prominent in the mix and aggressive with attitude. So let's jump straight in here at number 10, an album that might surprise a lot of people, but it's Metallica's Load. And I think this is an excellent album. I spoke about it a number of times on the channel before. It's outside Metallica's normal style, and it probably alienated a lot of their fans in the mid-1990s. But for me, it's a very well-produced album, and it's definitely a hard rock album. Kirk Hammett is in great form on this one in terms of the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar. He really shines on this album. Of course, James is brilliant as well with the rhythm guitars, and he also plays some lead on this as well. And then, you know, Lars with his bombastic drumming on this is absolutely amazing. All put together by Bob Rock as the producer, with Hetfield and Ulrich, and yeah, for me it sounds absolutely amazing and well deserving in my place at number 10, although some people might not agree with me, so by all means let me know in the comments below if you're not in agreement. Okay, I'll just see, can I set this up here correctly before we move on to number 9, see if you can see that okay. Yeah, okay, so coming in at 10 is Load by Metallica. Coming in at number 9, again, might be another surprise for people. It's this one, Boston's debut album. So for me, it's got it all. It's, as we say, it's got the guitars very much layered and well produced, recorded, panned, all that good stuff. Of course, John Boylan produced this with Tom Schultz. But for me, this album sounds absolutely amazing. The drums are class in it as well. They sound huge. They sound brilliant. And then, of course, lead vocals by Brad Delp. I don't think there's any skips on this album. That's why I have it on the list. It might be, some people might consider AOR, arena rock, melodic rock maybe, but for me, I think it's a hard rock album. It's got enough blues riffs and licks in there, and there's enough guitars in there to warrant it in its place in this list. So I'll stick it in there at number 9, Boston. Okay, coming in at number 8, it is Irish band Thin Lizzy and their classic album Jailbreak. This one is absolutely amazing. Released in 1976, which was a great year for classic rock because Boston was released in that year as well, along with some other fantastic albums. But this one is brilliant. It starts off with Jailbreak, but we've also got Warriors, The Boys Are Back in Town, Cowboy Song, and of course the brilliant Emerald. Twin lead guitars on this one from Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson. And then we have, of course, Brian Downey on drums and Phil Lynott on bass and lead vocals. But yeah, this is hard rock at its absolute finest, and an Irish band to boot as well. So Thin Lizzy, Jailbreak, coming in at number 8. Okay, coming in at number 7, it is the bad boys from Boston, Aerosmith, and their album Rocks. Another one that was released in 1976. This album rocks, does exactly what it says on the cover. It's absolutely brilliant. Starts off with Back in the Saddle, which is based around a bass riff, which is played by none other than Joe Perry. Even though Joe was the lead guitar player in the band, he decided to play bass on this track. And then we get Last Child, which is another fantastic song. Rats in the Cellar, combination, Sick as a Dog, Nobody's Fault, Get the Lead Out. It's absolutely brilliant from start to finish, this album. And in my opinion, well deserving in its place at number 7. So, look, I suppose Aerosmith rocks. Just one thing to say about that album as well. It was one of the most influential hard rock albums of all time. Inspired the likes of Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Nirvana, funnily enough. So, yeah, massively influential album, and well deserving his place at number 7 in my opinion. Okay, moving on to number 6 here. A lot of people might consider this a metal album, but if you actually listen to it, it's not. It's hard rock. It's Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Okay, it's got great riffs in it. It's got great drums, great vocals by Ozzy. But if you listen to the guitar solos, they're all based around pentatonic scales and blues scales. So for me, this is a hard rock album. Of course, War Pigs, the opener, is one of Black Sabbath's best songs. We've also got Paranoid. Planet Caravan goes for that kind of a folky acoustic vibe, and then we've got Iron Man, one of the best Black Sabbath songs of all time. Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Rat Salad, Fairies Wear Boots. This one is killer, all killer, no filler, from start to finish, and in my opinion, well deserving of its place at number 6 in my ranking here. Black Sabbath, Paranoid, brilliant stuff there. Okay, next we have, in my opinion, the album that actually created the genre of hard rock. Eric Clapton with his signature guitar tone of a Gibson through a Marshall stack. It is Disraeli Gears by Cream. We've also got Ginger Baker on drums. We talk about Bombast. This guy had it all. He was a fantastic drummer. And then, of course, Jack Bruce on bass. Lead vocals were shared between Eric Clapton and Jack Bruce. This band was a three-piece. They were one of the best power trios of all time. And, of course, you know, they all came from very famous bands and from the jazz and blues scene of the 1960s, but this album really, really rocks, and in my opinion, this was a staple for how hard rock should sound going forward. Massively influential, on a par with Aerosmith's Rocks, but I think it's actually a better album because I think Eric's playing on this is phenomenal. So we've got Strange Brew, Sunshine of Your Love, which is one of the best hard rock songs of all time, and we've got Tales of Brave Ulysses through Lobler and Outside Woman Blues. It's absolutely fantastic, and in my opinion, no problem with that album getting into number 5 on my top 10 hard rock albums. Okay, gonna go a little bit left field for number 4. I know I was talking about bluesy lead guitar playing and hard rock and, you know, pentatonic scales and everything else, but the guitar player in this band, you just couldn't keep him down. He was phenomenally gifted, one of the best guitar players of all time, in my opinion. And he didn't just play simple guitar lines. He had to express himself in his own way, and he was so gifted. But I think this band are definitely a hard rock band. It is, of course, Deep Purple. And the album I'm picking is Machine Head, and I think it's their most consistent album, to be perfectly honest. It's just chock-a-block with hits and top-notch songs. So we've got Highway Star to start, one of my favourite Deep Purple songs, one of my favourite hard rock songs of all time. Then we've got Maybe I'm a Leo and Pictures of Home, Never Before, and then, of course, Smoke on the Water, one of the most classic and well-known rock songs of all time, Lazy, and then it finishes off with Space Truckin', another one of my favourite Deep Purple songs. But yeah, this one here, Ian Gillan, of course, should say, lead vocals on this, absolutely fantastic. Ian Pace on drums, and we also had Roger Glover on bass and John Lord on keys. But to me, Deep Purple are a fantastic hard rock band, and this album is well deserving, in my opinion, in its place at number 4. Okay, coming in at 3. It's this one here, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. A fantastic album from start to finish. You know, this one has all their hits from, you know, that era. It starts off in 1987, it was released. But we've got like Welcome to the Jungle, It's So Easy, Night Train, Mr. Brownstone, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine. But there's no skips on this album. From start to finish, it's just absolutely solid, rock solid. Of course, Slash and Izzy Stradlin playing guitars on this one. Interwoven rhythm guitars throughout the verses, and then the solos, you know, the majority of them played by Slash, with the exception of one solo played by Izzy Stradlin on Night Train. But yeah, Slash is just a fantastic hard rock guitar player, and he really, really shines on this one. Drums from Steven Adler are brilliant, and then the vocals from Axl Rose are very notable as well. I have to say, over the years, Axl's voice has really grated on me, and you know, I probably would have had this album higher in previous years, but yeah, I think, you know, it just, his voice hasn't aged well, shall we say, even his recordings back in these days. So I'm going to put it in at number 3. But let me know in the comments what you think, if it should be higher or lower on the list. Okay, coming in at number 2, it is the ACDC comeback album, their first album with Brian Johnson from 1980. It is, of course, Back in Black. I absolutely love this album. Again, it's got no skips on it. We talk about, lead guitar and rhythm guitar. Malcolm Young was one of the best rhythm guitar players of all time. Angus, of course, a fantastic lead guitar player in his own right. He's no Jimmy Page or Eric Clapton, but he's certainly up there. He could do the job for AC/DC and do it really, really well. The drums from Phil Rudd, just pure groove, absolutely brilliant. Any other drummer that comes into AC/DC just doesn't sound right. Phil Rudd is the best drummer for AC/DC, without a doubt, and he's on fire on this one. And then, of course, we got Brian Johnson with that trademark scream and roar. He's absolutely brilliant. We talk about aggression on this album. It's through the roof, and there's no skips. Hell's Bells, Shoot the Thrill, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, just to name a few on this album, but there really is no skips, so that's my number 2. Coming in at number 1, probably no surprise to a lot of people if you watch this channel regularly, I'm a huge fan of this band. It is, of course, Led Zeppelin, and the album is Led Zeppelin 4, or the Untitled Album, or Four Symbols, or whatever you decide to call this album. But in my opinion, one of the best albums of all time. Certainly the best hard rock album of all time, in my opinion. It's not just all hard rock. There's elements of folk in there. There's elements of bits of prog and other bits and pieces in there, blues. But I think it's definitely, like, when you think about hard rock, we talk about songs like Black Dog, Rock and Roll, Stairway to Heaven from about halfway in, Four Sticks, and When the Levee Breaks. You take those songs alone, it's just a masterclass in hard rock. And again, they were doing it before a lot of bands were doing it. They inspired Aerosmith, they inspired Black Sabbath, they inspired Boston, they inspired Thin Lizzy. So a lot of the bands on this list, AC/DC even, were inspired by Led Zeppelin. And of course, Led Zeppelin took what Cream were doing and kind of made it their own as well. So there was a lot of borrowing and a lot of inspiration happening all over the place. But, if we talk about guitars, Jimmy Page, like, one of the best of all time. Okay, Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton might be more precise guitar players, and they might be better accomplished guitar players. But I think Jimmy Page just had this kind of an artistic expression. He was able to see beyond, the norm and go outside his comfort zone, and that's very evident in the later Led Zeppelin albums. But on this one here, he really shines brightly. He's fantastic, and of course the guitars are double tracked, overlaid, panned, well produced on this. Only one guitar player in the band, but he manages to cover all the bases on this album. In terms of drums, we've got, in my opinion, the best rock drummer of all time, Bonzo, John Bonham. Absolutely brilliant, and he's on fire on this album. Like Rock and Roll, Black Dog, and When the Levee Breaks. Absolutely fantastic. The drum performance on The Levee Breaks is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And then, lead vocals, Robert Plant. Come on, give me a break. He's just the best. He is the atypical rock star. It's what everyone else based themselves on, was Robert Plant, after he kind of borrowed from Roger Daltrey. But yeah, in my opinion, Led Zeppelin 4 is the best hard rock album in my collection. So we'll run through from 10 to 1. Coming in at number 10 is Metallica Load. Coming in at number 9 is Boston debut album. 8 is Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy. 7 is Aerosmith's Rocks. 6 is Paranoid by Black Sabbath. 5 is Disraeli Gears by Cream. 4 is Machine Head by Deep Purple. 3 is Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. 2 is Back in Black by AC/DC. And coming in at 1 was Led Zeppelin, Four Sticks, Four Symbols, or self-titled album, or whatever you choose to call it. So let me know in the comments below, am I far off the mark? Would you have these albums in a different arrangement on your list? Or would you have different albums in and maybe you take some of these out? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like the album, if you like the video, should I say, please hit the like button. And if you could also subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.